has gotten to really like these stock cars, and the folks over there at True Value in Chicago. Take a look at Kowicki. Down low, puts that cord to work, and he has Rusty Wallace pinned to the outside.
Well, the lap before, Ken, off turn 4, they really got together coming off the corner. They tangled pretty good. But there they go. They're touching again coming up off of that corner. Not near as much contact this lap as the time before, but they made the pass.
4-3. Kowicki there. Wallace back to 4th. And you can see that front end just snap on that car for a second. He has to gather it back up. Gives Kowicki a chance to pull away. Now take a look a little further back. Here is Dale Jarrett in the 18, and guess who's back? On the outside, using that lane up there where nobody else has appeared to tread today, Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip moving.
And it seems like it has to come to him. He can't force it. He's able to let the track kind of come to him. As he runs a little longer, he's able to work up there. Looks like Earnhardt's going to try it up there a little bit.
And moving to 5th, Waltrip. Back to 6th goes Jarrett, 7th Earnhardt. Here comes Earnhardt trying that outside for the moment. So on that swap of positions, you've got Waltrip up into 6th, Jarrett falling back to 7th, Earnhardt in 8th, and Earnhardt trying to get himself another notch.
Jarrett able to hold Earnhardt off that corner there. Seems like Jarrett's car works good on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like Earnhardt loses a little bit of ground up there. Got a good count going down in the corner here. Off turn 2, it's really tight over here. Jarrett really has to give some room. Earnhardt and those guys are really tightened up off this corner. Looks like they just keep working it side by side. One can't get a real big edge over the other.
Who was it that said that Joe Gibbs, after his car, number 18, had won the Daytona 500, could give up that part-time job just so he could stay in racing?
I wouldn't consider the Redskins a part-time job. They'll be after you, Ken.
No. I mean his football job. Just because he'd won the Super Bowl 3 times. Then he won Daytona. That's what all the guys in the pits were talking about. Well, he's won the Daytona 500. Get serious now.
Yes, sir. Ready to go racing. People that are serious about racing put on a heavy underwear and a double-sized coat and sit out here and enjoy some good racing.
See Jeff Gordon's car back there, and there's Ricky Rudd in the 5. As you get a look back through the fields here, comes Ernie Irvin, who's not having much fun out here today. Hasn't been any fun for Irvin. He's 13th a lap down, and he likes to be up right in the middle of the hunt for first spot. There you see Morgan Shepherd. He has slid back. 21 car is being shown as 14th a lap down. Harry Gant, we really thought Harry was going to have a heck of a day. He still is in that lead lap, and caution's out. Yellow is down. 3rd time this afternoon. We have a caution on the track. I think we may have some debris in there. I can't see any car in any problem. This comes at lap 241. Kyle Petty leading, Davey Allison 2nd, Alan Kowicki 3rd, Rusty Wallace in 4th. Darrell Waltrip 5th, Earnhardt is 6th. Jarrett in 7th, Mark Martin in 8th, Jeff Gordon 9th, and going 10th, Harry Gant.
Ken, the only thing I see is Bill Elliott is sitting on pit road with the hood up. He might have put a little something out on the track. NASCAR saw it.
Well, we'll try to solve this mystery after we take this brief break. 3rd caution of the day on the track here at Richmond International Raceway. A problem that puts us under yellow. There you see the standings after 244 laps. And everyone has taken this opportunity to come on pit road and get their cars serviced in the Pontiac Excitement 400 at the Richmond International Raceway, event number 3 in this multi-million-dollar stock car series from coast to coast. Earlier this week, Lieutenant Colonel Mickelson had the honor of presenting the Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award.
Thanks, Ken. The Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award recognizes individuals who've made significant contributions to their sport, their team, and their community. Today's recipient is Dale Jarrett, who just 3 weeks ago drove his number 18 Chevy Lumina to victory in the Daytona 500. Off the track, he carries a strong message to America's youth in the fight against drug abuse. Dale, on behalf of the men and women of the Air Force Reserve, it's a pleasure for me to present this award to you, and knowing that your achievements on the racetrack are a result of a total team effort. We wish you, owner Joe Gibbs, and the entire Interstate Batteries racing crew future success in NASCAR. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate this, and I accept this award on behalf of my whole race team, who, without them, I couldn't be standing here receiving any awards, because they're the ones that really make this possible. Our sponsor, Interstate Batteries, Shell, and Food Line, we say thank you, and we'll continue our fight against drug abuse out there. You do your part, and we'll continue to do ours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Colonel Mickelson. Looking out the Pontiac pace car at Davey Allison, who's in first place after that pit stop.
Yeah, let's show them how this happened. On pit road, right now Davey's leading the race. Let's show what happened. Here's Davey coming out of the pits. We see Kyle spinning, trying to get going the 42 car. He beats him out. There comes the 2 car. There comes the 7 car. Davey beats him to the line, so Davey took the lead on pit road.
Putting down some speedy dry, and they're at least a lap or 2 away from getting them cranked up. Understand the caution was for Ernie Irvan or for Bill Elliott, number 11. Elliott's car was putting down some fluid on the track, and hence we have this 3rd caution of the day.
They said the caution before that they'd been putting a good bit of oil in the 11 car, and they've taken the 11 car now, Bill Elliott, into the garage to do major surgery on it. They're giving 1 lap to go, so we'll be back to green, even though we have all this oil dry around.
Now Waltrip is on pit road. Darrell Waltrip, who's made a really stout effort at this one, coming back in. Pulls all the way down to about the 3rd pit from the end. Fuel topping? What do you think?
Well, it looks like he's got something on the windshield right here. He probably ran through that oil and oil dry, and it might have been enough nuisance for Darrell. He felt like an extra stop to clean that windshield off so he could see a little bit better. They are putting the caution back out. We're going to go 1 more lap. Probably because so much oil dry all the way around the racetrack, and some of the drivers might be saying, hey, look, there's just too much out here. I mentioned just a while ago, it looked like we're going green, even though there's a lot of it out there, so they're going to try to clean it off a little bit more before they turn them loose.
Down the field comes with car number 28, Davey Allison up in front. Number 42, Kyle Petty is in 2nd. Rusty Wallace is in 3rd. Alan Kowicki is in 4th. Earnhardt is in 5th as they get ready to go once again.
Ever see Dale Jarrett cleaning his tires off, getting ready to go?
Field getting organized on a start. Pace car has the light off on top, and we're just about ready to go once again.
There's a good indication, Ken. You can see from the pace car. Look at the oil dry, the speedy dry flying up behind the car. So there's still a good bit on there. They fix to turn these guys loose, though. Take long to blow it off there with these cars.
Coming down for a start, coming to the line. Davey Allison holding the lead for the first time today. From Bobby Hillen's car, there's Hut Strickland alongside. Bobby Hillen having a handful out here today and running off the pace.
Look behind the car, Ken, and all the stuff flying up. It looks like running down a dirt road. It'll take a lap or 2 to blow all this off here.
Looks like an old-fashioned dirt track there for a moment. Here's the battle for 2nd spot. Kyle Petty is there with Rusty Wallace.
We saw on the last restart, it took Kyle Petty a little while to get his car back up to the kind of speed he had earlier. And right now, Rusty's all over him again.
Jeff Bodine is right up there trying to get his lap back and not being successful. Look at Wallace meander to the outside.
Talk about trying to get a lap back. Here's Ernie Irvan down on the inside. Davey Allison is the leader. Irvan's getting real aggressive trying to get one of these laps back.
Ernie Irvan's in 11.
He's just 1 down. If he can stay ahead of Davey, catch a caution, he's back in it.
10 cars are in the lead lap. Allison, Wallace, Kyle Petty, Earnhardt, Kowicki's 5th, Jarrett, Martin, Harry Gander's up to 8th, Jeff Gordon is 9th, Darrell Waltrip is 10th, and Irvan would make 11th.
We see right there coming off turn 4, there's Rusty Wallace on the outside of the 42 car. He couldn't make it stick. He's back in line. It seems as though it just takes Kyle a lap or 2 longer than the rest of them to get it back up. And once he gets that thing wound up, he's pretty tough. He's got his work cut out for him now, because we're watching these leaders here, and Davey Allison's about 8 car lengths out in front of him.
Surprising performance by Davey Allison in the 28. Boy, it's been a tough year for him. 28th at Daytona, 15th last week, 2 laps down at Rockingham. Here for the moment at lap, I want to say 254. Is that right? 254, 255.
You know, Davey and those guys are trying to answer a big question, Ken. Everybody says, boy, what happened to Davey at Daytona? They were off the pace. They're trying to answer that question themselves, and the best way to answer it is with a good run today. That'll put a lot of security back in that team and put a lot of confidence where it needs to be with that race team.
Now behind those two, look at this struggle as Wallace comes to the inside. Rusty Wallace is there. Kyle Petty on the outside, those Pontiacs flanking as they come through turn 1. Kyle comes right back in turn 2. Who says that's a one-groove corner?
But you've got to be so careful of Rusty. Kyle had the ability to pull back up on that outside. He left that lane open. If he would have moved over the least little bit, he'd have pinched both of them on the outside wall. So you sure put a lot of confidence in that guy to leave you that little bit of room to get through there.
Rusty Wallace charging. He wants to go up, take a shot at Davey Allison for the lead. Alan Kowicki coming with Rusty Wallace. Here's Earnhardt in the 3. Still very much a factor in this race. Earnhardt, can't count him out the way he's been rolling this year.
Looks like Kyle's got caught out there on the outside. He's able to pull back up on Earnhardt. Earnhardt's car hasn't been able to get off that corner as good a lot of, but it looks like he's going to clear him this time. Uncommon to see Kyle and his team really use their head. We heard him say a while ago that they got a long way to go, and they've had a lot of problems this year. They don't want to create a problem. They don't want to take an extra chance, so they're worried about just keeping the car clean right now where they have something left at the end of the race.
Ernie Irvan trying to stay in that lead lap, get himself just one more caution flag, get routed back to the leader. Rusty Wallace stays right here in second spot. Rusty, this year going to see you make a big push for that championship?
Well, first of all, we got our coordination with the team together, but the one big thing is we all got together and we made a decision to win the championship. Not a well, I'm going to try or I'm going to hope. We had to sit back and make the decision to win, and that means a lot of sacrifices, and so we're going to do that this year. We sacrifice a lot of home life, a lot of being late nights at the shop to win, because we want to win.
Rejuvenated car number 2. They're sounding tough and looking sane. Here's that battle for 6th position. Jarrett on the outside. Mark Martin down low in the 6th. The 6th just behind them is the 24, Jeff Gordon. You see Ricky Rudd's car. You must remember that Rudd is running 14th, 1 lap away from the leaders. So Mark Martin picks up a spot, gets under Jarrett, and he has himself 6th spot. Resetting the leaders for you. 28, Davey Allison out in front at lap 263. Just in front of him is Ernie Irvan, who is back in the lead lap, making 11 contenders to win it all here today. From Bobby Hillen's viewpoint, you're looking back, and there you see the Kenny Wallace Dirt Devil car right there with him.
Kenny Wallace and all the rookies involved here, Labonte, Jeff Gordon, they're really concerned about getting a good effort in here for that rookie championship.
So there you see the standings. Allison's race for the moment. Can it stay that way? We'll see.
From the early 60s into the modern era, Richmond International Raceway has welcomed Pontiac to Victory Lane. Pontiac's first win here came on the half-mile dirt track of the old Atlantic Rural Fairgrounds. The year 1961, and the late Joe Weatherly, the pride of Richmond, ruled this track with his Pontiac, prepared by Bud Moore. Weatherly and Pontiac continued to rule the fairgrounds in the early 60s, winning races in 62 and 63 en route to back-to-back national championships. Pontiac captured the 1962 Manufacturers Championship by winning 20 of 39 races, including an astounding 6 in a row. In 1980, he guided his Raymock Pontiac to Victory Lane on the half-mile paved circuit, which was then named Richmond Fairgrounds Raceway.
I did win the last race here in Raymock Pontiac, and I'll tell you what, the Pontiacs have always ran good here. Rusty won the last race, so the guys with the Pontiacs aren't in bad shape at this racetrack.
The next year, Rusty Wallace and his Pontiac continued their quest for the title, winning both Winston Cup races on the 3/4 mile newly renamed Richmond International Raceway.
The whole 1989 season was real dramatic. I mean, the 1989 race here at Richmond was just typical of that year. I mean, we were getting everything right at the very end. 20 laps to go, we take the lead. Right at the end, we win by 12 points in the championship. Everything was just going right down to the wire, but hey, that's fine as long as the outcome's great.
Pontiac still had one more element to cover at Richmond. It wasn't the surface or the size of the track. Richmond International Raceway decided in 1991 to run its autumn race at night under the lights. In September of '92, perennial favorite Rusty Wallace drove Pontiac to victory with their first win under the lights at Richmond.
The September win last year was real important. I mean, the Pontiac really ran good. My car owner, Penske, was here for the first time. The sponsor, Miller, was sponsoring the race. Everything was perfect that night. And to drive that Pontiac under victory lane was great.
Add the likes of proven drivers Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, Rick Wilson, and Kenny Wallace, and you're guaranteed continued Pontiac excitement.
Well, here in the Pontiac 400, with 275 of the 400 laps complete, Rusty Wallace is looking after this guy right now. It's the Ford of Davey Allison out in front. Wallace is in second, and Kyle Petty has been relegated to 4th position. And also, Ernie Irvin has been again lapped by Davey Allison. He's running about 4, as you see it here, maybe 5 car lengths back after he had himself up there to be 11 cars, the 11th car in the lead lap. He has now fallen back a lap to the leader.
Well, you mentioned 11 car. Look, there's the 11 car going in the truck. Had motor trouble. It's just been that type of year for Bill Elliott. They'll certainly get it turned around, but it's got to be disappointing the way things are starting off.
Taking the elevator ride up into the Caravan, that is certainly not the stairway to heaven for Bill Elliott here today. Davey Allison's car stays in first spot. Wallace second, Kowicki third, Kyle fourth, and Earnhardt is fifth.
There's Dahlin back in his car, following Bobby Hillen down in the corner. See a little braking down in that corner there, but we're not getting a true reading on this RPM right here because he's just not quite up to speed and he's not turning a lot of RPM. Jack Roush's motor's really twist and he just doesn't have this one up to speed right now.
Keystone car giving us some great photos here in this 3/4 mile track. You see Bobby Hillen just in front. Here's Derek Koch in the Trop Arctic camera car. Cale Yarborough carrying a brand new sponsor today. Just in front of him, Phil Parsons in the 41. Phil had a very good run, was up in the top 10. He has now dropped back to 16th. He's being shown 1 lap off.
We saw Jimmy Spencer go by on the inside. The yellow car there, number 12, is Spencer. He opened the door, so here we see Cope jump down there and tried to follow him by, but he couldn't quite make the pass.
And up to 16th is Jimmy Spencer in the Bobby Allison car. Here's Bobby Hillen. Still working hard out here today, but when it's not going right, that's harder than if you're battling for the lead. As the number 90 car is just missing out here somewhere in the setup. Well back.
You're off the pace like that. It's hard to make it the rest of you. You want to get up there and get racing. You see Hillen going down here in turn 1, coming up off the corner. This is that tight part of the racetrack. The wall just jumps out at you. But see the light, you got a little bit of glare going down in turn 3. And just for a minute there, you lose a little bit of visibility, but you've got this big, wide exit off the corner. So, I mean, the layout of this track really suits these big race cars.
Well, the Heilig-Myers people feel that they're going to come back, and he's going to get his second win in that car this year, and it would also be the second win in the history of Winston Cup racing for Junie Donlevy, who's only won one. That was Jody Ridley years back when they were competing at Dover, Delaware. They knocked one down. It was a long time ago, back in the early 80s, I think 81. Battle for third right here. There you see Kowicki. He's after Kyle Petty. Kyle's moved around. He gets himself up there with Ernie Irvin and scoots under him down here in turn number 1. Remember that Irvin is a lap down.
Yeah, Irvin fought real hard to keep that lap away from Davey Allison to stay in the lead lap. Ran his car exceptionally hard, but he lost that lap back, and now he's paying the price. He's following him back further.
Now look at this for 7th spot. There's Mark Martin in the 6th, and Jeff Gordon is right back in this, looking for a top 10 finish today in that number 24 car.
I think when you put a deal together like this with a Jeff Gordon, everybody says, well, boy, let them stay together a year and they'll be real good. This guy is good right now. We saw that at Daytona. We saw him have a strong run. He had motor problems at Rockingham last week. But the 24 car here, Jeff Gordon, even though he's a rookie, he's up there racing with the veterans. And I wouldn't doubt to think that he's got the possibility of winning a race this year.
Just 115 laps to go, Neil, and they will not be competed by Jimmy Hensley. He's at the STP Pit Center right now. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Jimmy, what put you out here this afternoon?
Messed the clutch up on one of the stops and just thought, learn to blow the motor up with this car.
What's ahead for you now? Was this a short-term ride for you with Jimmy Means?
Well, really, Jimmy had a lot of problems this week. His father-in-law died, and, he was going to drive the car this week, and he called me Thursday, and I'd like to say, I'm sorry for the family, condolences to the family for Marcia and losing her dad this week. So, I don't know about, I'm just going to the races now and try to pick up something, or maybe something come along later on.
Hope to see you in Atlanta. You're defending Rookie of the Year on the racetrack right now. Davey Allison seems to have everyone covered. Was he the strongest driver out there?
Well, first two on the left looked like him and Kyle were pretty much class in the field, but I think probably any of these cars that's on the lead lap maybe still got a shot at winning this race.
All right, thank you. Jimmy Hensley, the Ridgeway, Virginia veteran, with us here in the STP Pit Communication Center. Davey Allison at the moment with the lead over Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty. We'll be back for the final 100 laps.
We get down to Memorial all season long, but some great races in the immediate future. That North Wilkesboro race is always a dandy at Phoenix Staley's facility. Well, here we are at lap 296. 104 laps remaining. Take a look at this. It's Davey Allison and Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty, Alan Kowicki, Dale Earnhardt, all involved in this thing. For the moment, we're focusing on Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty. They're back there in second spot. What a turnaround for Davey Allison today to get himself together after two poor finishes in the early going. But the Hueytown driver, who qualified 14th, is currently leading. The battle for second remains between Kyle Petty and Rusty Wallace. Those two Pontiacs in there having their own struggle as the Ford leads. It would be the first victory for Ford this season if Allison can succeed. Remember that Bodine had a third-place finish at Daytona. Mark Martin put him on the pole at Rockingham. Now maybe they'll pull off the overall win.
Ken, we see the two car. Rusty Wallace fell back just a little bit. There might be some things they can do to pick the pace on that car. Let's go down to his pits with Buddy Parrott along with Dick Berger so we can find out.
Well, Buddy, it's been running well so far today, but you're still in second. Can you make it up to first?
I'm sorry, Dick, I didn't understand.
You're running well, but you're in second. Can you push it up to first?
Well, of course, we're going to try. The cars, we've been trying to adjust it all day long. It's a little bit pushy in the middle, then we get a little loose. So but we're trying to gain on them, and we got one more stop coming up. And maybe we can do a lightning fast stop and put it in front. But like I said, we got some good competition today.
And if there is only one more stop, it'll be the most important one of the day.
Dick, it seems like the battle on pit road is getting to where it's more important than the battle on the racetrack. In the last couple of races, whoever comes out of the pits in front stays out front. So it's going to be the big battle is who gets off pit road first.
The interval is 2 2/10 seconds from first. Allison back to second. Kyle Petty and Rusty Wallace, depending upon how you want to read it. They struggle back there. There you see Davey Allison just around Rick Wilson. And we're at lap 3:01.99 to go in this $720,000 battle. Davey Allison, the 1988 winner here at Richmond in the fall, is currently looking for his 19th Winston Cup victory and looking very stout here. The 92 Daytona 500 champion on a roll, but these are the guys that are the next contenders. Kyle Petty and Rusty Wallace sitting just a little more than 2 seconds back. In heavy traffic is the leader, Davey Allison, lapping Ken Schrader. You'll recall that Ken Schrader slapped the wall earlier hard, got himself back out and was able to continue. There's Schrader's car, but it's well off the pace, the man that sat on the pole today.
Here's Davey Allison. Let's take a look at this interval. There's something happening. Before, they were just barely behind Davey. We see Davey enter turn 3. Look how far back. We're still falling back. Those two cars side by side, that's second, third place. And that is the key. They're racing each other. The more they race, they swap the lead a couple of times. Davey Allison is driving away while these guys are battling for second, third place.
Leading now by more than 2.5 seconds is Davey Allison. And so this pit stop will become all the more critical. Neil, when they come down pit road this time, that Parrott crew comes through as they did at Rockingham, that could change the situation around one more time.
They can put him right back in the middle of this. And it's times like this, Ken, I don't know how many people approach me and these teams say, boy, I'd like to work on one of these pit crews. What have you got to do to work on a Winston Cup pit crew? Well, let me tell you, folks, no matter how good you are, when you're the key on this car getting in and getting out in 19 or 20 seconds, you'll think about having that job. The pressure is on these people behind pit wall when that car comes down there. If you mess up, you lose the race. You're just as critical as the guy driving that race car.
Neil, Ken, one of the drivers we haven't heard much from in the last hour, this gentleman, young Jeff Gordon, the top rookie contender in the number 24 car. He clipped the wall about 100 laps ago, and now we're told one of his rear fenders is rubbing a tire. So Jeff Gordon not with the strongest of outings here in the late going this afternoon.
Still strong enough to be 9th overall in the field, running just in front of Harry Gant. 10 cars remain in the lead lap. And Gordon up there in that lead lap is looking terrific right now. Back with that leader, Davey Allison. 2 6/10 seconds now as Davey pulls away.
Yeah, the more they race behind him, the stronger he's going to get, the more he's going to pull away. They're going to have to mount a charge, but as long as they race against each other, Davey's pulling for that. I'm telling you, Davey's glad to see him race like that.
As you look at these cars on this track, which has so much of the super speedway flavor and still has never lost the short track flavor, Neil, in the old days, you'd bring a car out of this place and you didn't have one fender, one panel that wasn't bent or busted. Now today you have to be a little more careful. How much of a race car are these guys willing to give up out here today?
When you come to a track like this, you know you're going to get in a little beating and banging. You're going to have a little bit of trouble. You're going to roll some fenders back. But you damage that car really bad and mess up the aerodynamics on the car, and you'll pay the price. So these cars are beefed up under those fenders. There's some pretty good roll bars. These things got like Nerf bars all the way around them, so they're ready to lean on each other a little bit.
Revestis number 8 looks like it's about to give up the ghost. Sterling Marlin, who's had 8 second-place finishes, now driving for the Stavola folks, and it is slowing down here as we get into those last 90 laps of competition. So we'll be back to give you more of the Richmond International Raceway's Pontiac Excitement 400 after these messages.
Hey, racing fans, Budweiser asks, who won? November 6, 1983, Atlanta International Raceway. Dale Earnhardt dominates the early stages of this 500-miler, but the Intimidator became a spectator after just 49 laps. He suffered from a broken clutch. From that point, 5 drivers fought for the lead, including the late Tim Richmond, until he blew a motor on lap 120. Soon, Bobby Allison took command, and he was on his way to the victory stand. But who won? Here's a list of possible drivers to jog your memory. We'll be back with the answer after this. If you guessed Neil Bonnet as the winner, you're right. Here's how the rest of that event in Atlanta unfolded. Bobby Allison was running, going for his 7th win of the year, but 7 laps from the checkered, trouble started. Jimmy Means and Mike Potter spun in the 4th turn, causing the day's 6th caution flag. Bobby Allison was heading for the pits, but he blew a tire. The tire problem sent his number 22 Buick right into the pit road wall. From that incident, Buddy Baker took command with Neil Bonnet a very close second. Then, just 3 laps from the finish, Bonnet takes his Chevrolet to the inside of Baker, goes on to victory by less than half a second. It's brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
320 laps are now complete at Richmond International Raceway. Yeah. Guess who didn't know that he won Atlanta?
Y'all are doing these little pieces just so it'll revive me. I can't remember those little deals, all of them.
It looked good out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Charlotte twice. One here. This is the first track he ever won on.
That's right. Here's Ricky Rudd on pit road. Putting a little bit of bite in the car. See him cranking on that right rear. Everybody's going to get 4 tires.
Running 17th, Rudd. 21 seconds, and he's away.
It's a heck of a note when 21 seconds is slow for 4 tires, but that's the case today.
Here's the leader, Davey Allison, and now he has a 3-second advantage. Over Kyle Petty in second and Rusty Wallace third. Boy, he is flying.
Well, the red stop was 4 tires, but the longer you can stretch this on fuel, the less fuel you have to put into the car, so normally it would take less of a stop. So I think maybe what you're going to see is 2 tire stops. Davey Allison is planning on coming in from laps 350 to 355, somewhere in that area. Alan Kwiatkowski as well as Rusty Wallace, 350 to lap 355. So we'll see what happens, but could be a gas and go, could be a 2 tire stop.
Working lap 324 at the present time in the Pontiac Excitement 400. That gives them 76 laps to decide the $700,000 plus purse this afternoon. As Robert Yates' team, Larry McReynolds, the crew chief, has command at the present time, trying to turn things around in the Pontiac Excitement 400. The Ford interest here today, Neil.
We've heard that big battle all season long, GM Ford, and everybody says it's out of balance, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It almost seems to me as NASCAR's got one of the most level playing fields they've had in a long time. We get to these tracks, we're going to see Edgar Hamlin all into it, so they'll be right back in it. You see right there's Kyle Petty, but look how far Rusty Wallace has passed him. See Rusty to the left of the frame? Rusty passed him just a few laps ago and is trying to move on out now. I don't know if he's going to be able to close on Davey, but while they were racing, Davey opened that gap some more, but Rusty is getting away from Kyle a little bit.
About 3 5/10 of a second between first and second. Now Allison to Wallace.
Pulled away a little bit. That probably had something to do with that much racing. It took them 2 laps to get around each other there. Davey stretched it some more. You know, it almost makes you concerned. These 2 guys, their cars look really, really good, but Davey's still pulling away. Allison's car must really be coming to him the longer they run.
Average speed is 107 miles per hour, which is 2 miles an hour over the record. 105.3, that Earnhardt mark of 1991, could get shattered here today. Here's Harry Gant. He's running in 10th. Started 34th today. Had a great run out here in car number 33, Mr. September, who had that great run here back after the autumn. 2 years back now, really. But he had a great run last autumn, too.
Yeah, and last week, I mean, he was a key figure in possibility of winning the race and had an oil pump actually break off of the block. The mounting bolt broke off the block and he lost the motor, but Gant's trying to get his program back on track. They switched from Oldsmobile to Chevrolet, and it's put them to working a little bit.
Here's Derek Cope's camera. Trop Arctic giving us these pictures out of the Cale Yarborough car. Looks like they've got some added life in this team again. Addition of another sponsor for them. Hope it works out for that team. I hope it works out for Jimmy Means. I understand they've got an 800 number for him. Broke his shoulder, lost 3 cars at Daytona, but he's still out here. Had Jimmy Ansley out here today trying their best. A lot of fans love that guy just because he goes out and fights so hard.
I tell you what, Means was a winner back in Alabama when we raced against him. Maybe he can get his thing going there where he can get back up front.
Say they're black flagging car number 44, Rick Wilson, the Petty car. We'll get you a reason as to why here, as they've told Rick to bring it on pit road. Say he's leaking some fluid out there, and he's also lost his radio. Usually they communicate down to the crew chief, and he gets on the radio. They've had his number up and the flag up. They got him in.
That could be the black flag. They might be calling him in for him.
Indeed, that's the case. They've told him to come in. He's on pit road. Richard Petty's number 44, Rick Wilson aboard. We're showing 339 laps complete, 61 remaining. And there's the man to beat, Davey Allison. We mentioned he's won in the fall. His best finish in this Pontiac 400 was 4th just a year ago. He's looking great right now.
Not looking so good right now. The car has definitely developed a little bit of a push. The key is, what are they going to do? They're going to try and gas and go, make up some ground. Right now, I would suggest they're going to try and put 2 tires on the car, at least right sides, but they're not saying. All they are saying is they're looking for him on lap 348.
3 8/10 of a second, the difference between first and second, Allison and Wallace.
That was Felix Sabatos we saw in the shot there. He was watching his car. He stays right on top of that race team. I'm concerned now. We've got Davey Allison leading the race. Here's Kyle Petty. The key is, what does Davey do? Somebody's going to wait and make them lay their cards on the table first. If one guy goes in and gets 4 tires, the next one's just going to try 2. If they just get gas only, the other guy's option is only gas. So they're going to have to let somebody make that first move, and then you'll see a scramble.
10, 15 laps away, that final pit stop, unless there's a caution. 10, 15 laps away. Showing 3:42 complete in the Pontiac Excitement 400 from Richmond International Raceway. Allison looking for his first win of the season. What a great year last year. What a tragic week.
All done and over with, taking only 2 under the green flag. This is also a very good pit stop for Davey Allison. 18.27. Nice stop.
Lap 3:53. Black flag is out on car number 3. Was it on 3 or the one behind him? Number 40. Number 40. Right behind him came the Wallace car. They put out the black flag, and it is. You can see the sign, and it now says number 40, and he'll have to come back around. Out there, it's lap 3:56 that he's working at the present time. Then everyone else that's showing up on your leaderboard would be a lap down. That would be Bodine running in the 2nd position at the present time, followed by Allison being shown a lap down until Waltrip comes in. Kyle Petty would be 4th. Rusty Wallace would be 5th. Here comes 17. Waltrip is on to pit road, and right behind him comes Jeff Bodine.
That was the 2 cars that were up in front. So after this sequence of stops by these 2 guys, we'll be right back where we were with the other leaders.
It'll be 28-42. Randy Pembroke.
Darrell Waltrip took it to the limit. Once again, he said he was out of fuel, but he had to try to stay out there to see if he could catch a caution, put everybody a lap down, and then he would have gone on to victory. Right now, they're on the right-hand side. 2nd can of gas all the way in. Darrell looks pretty comfortable. They're going 4 tires all the way around. So we're just going to have to see the way this one plays out with Kyle Petty on 2. If he can do anything, Darrell Waltrip down and away with 4 tires.
Staying green. Looks like we may have ourselves a record here today at Richmond International Raceway. At 105-mile-an-hour mark, belonging to Earnhardt in 91 in jeopardy. Another caution, though, would mix that. Morgan Shepherd is just pitting at this moment. Lake Speed back in another time.
We see Earnhardt right here behind Davey Allison, but that penalty put him, that's how close he is. He's a lap down to Davey right there, so he's racing him trying to get the lap back, but Davey's car is so strong it's going to be tough to do.
Earnhardt in the 3, working to get around Allison and then pray for that caution flag. 3:60 this time by and 40 laps to go.
After that set of pit stops, let's see where the 28, we see the 28 going under right there. Let's go back to where the 2 car, excuse me, the 42. You see what a lead is involved. It mounted to. They both had good stops, but Kyle just put on 2 tires and he's not able to go like he was before.
Only about 40 laps remaining of racing here this afternoon. We take a look at the STP rundown. Davey Allison out in front over Kyle Petty and Rusty Wallace. Alan Kulwicki also showing in the top 5. Your second 5 includes Jeff Gordon, Morgan Shepherd, who's really done a great job coming back, Mark Martin, Harry Gann, and Darrell Waltrip. Dale Earnhardt has dropped back to 11th after that penalty. And then the cars that are a lap down, Irvin, Rudd, Jeff Bodine, and Jimmy Spencer. 40 laps roughly to go, hopefully all green here at Richmond International Raceway. We'll be back to bring it all to you on TBS Sports when we continue after these messages.
We thought we'd been everywhere, seen everything. We were wrong.
We're back to the bone. We're back to the bone.
These guys were weird, and we liked it. Later, they took us to the Tower of Bud. Brother, tomorrow we ride again.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a synthetic oil, the rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oils. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec.
We're back with Davey Allison. 372 laps have been completed of 400 to be run. 372 of 400. And we're watching as Davey Allison continues to lead. In that second spot is Rusty Wallace in the interval at the present time. Still stays a little more than 3.
Way back there right now. Davey really got out. They were close on pit road, but Davey must really be running on the racetrack because he's pulling away.
4 and 2/10 seconds. Big advantage for Davey Allison over Rusty Wallace. Get you a little further back. Alan Kowicki is 3rd. Dale Jarrett is 4th. Kyle Petty is 5th. And 6th is Jeff Gordon. 7th is Martin. Going in 8th is Harry Gant. 9th is Waltrip. And a lap down is Earnhardt in 10th. 9 cars sustaining that lead lap. Let's go to Randy Pembert. Find out what's happened.
What happened on the 42 car of Kyle Petty, they were very close on fuel. They all had to come in with a matter of a couple of laps. They were forced to come in first as opposed to running out of fuel and finishing maybe 15th. So they wanted to take on 2 tires, but what happened? A slight miscommunication in the pits. As soon as the 2 tires were on the car and the front tire changer was out of the way, the jack should have been dropped and the car takes off. But the jack man waited just a little bit too long, waiting for fuel to be in the car, fuel that they'll never use. It'll be left over in the race car at the end of this race, and they lost about 6 seconds. So he probably would have been in a different position at this particular time had they gotten out when they should have.
There's the story.
Yeah, and that's the key. They don't have anybody on the radio say go, or the guys don't wave over pit wall. The key is when the jack goes down, the driver leaves. The jack man is the one that makes that call, and evidently there was a little miscommunication that cost him.
Terry Labonte in the Billy Hagan car, number 14, that Kellogg car. They've got to have a good run soon. They're 24th in this race. That is a good team. They've done a lot of work this year, but for the moment, Aaron also ran here in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Not the way Labonte likes it. Remember that great win at Talladega? What a dramatic finish that was for him. He's been with Billy Hagan. They seem to have good chemistry. That one will come around. For Davey Allison, come around today. After those 2 defeats earlier this season, he has this race in control. There you see Wallace in 2nd spot. Time running out. 378 laps of 400 now complete. We're inside of Wally Dallenbach's car. He's in 27th, and that car never came up to snuff this afternoon.
We noticed right off the bat he couldn't get up off the corner. He couldn't turn the kind of RPM it took to run up front. They've been off, and they just haven't been able to get it back.
Dick Bergen, tell us about tires. What's the situation? We heard there was a shortage when the race began. What's the story as we get down to its conclusion?
Well, there's still tires here, Ken. There aren't an awful lot of them, but there's enough. For example, Davey Allison's got a couple of sets. Rusty Wallace has 1 set, so there's not a problem with anybody running out. I think the question at the beginning was, how good were these tires going to be? And I think the fact that we've only had 1 crash-induced yellow flag says the drivers are very much able to control the cars on these tires. So there were enough tires to go around, and they did work.
So the Haviland Texaco car has the tires, has the fuel. Everything seems to be going their way, but that doesn't mean that with 20 laps to go, now 18 laps to go, it can stay that way. We're going to stay with you unless we have a caution. We might break for a commercial position, but other than that, we'll stay with you right down to the finish as Allison continues to dominate with Rusty Wallace in 2nd and Alan Kowicki in 3rd. As we look back through the field, there you see that Labonte car in the number 14. Terry Labonte still struggling to get his season underway. See some of those 67,000 folks. There's Dick Trickle. Gee, they've had a tough afternoon.
Yeah, they've been trying to get it going. They just haven't been able to get the car going. They switched, Raymock switched from the GMs to the Fords. They're working on it. They're getting it a little bit better. There's Rusty and Earnhardt racing. Rusty's in 2nd place, trying to run down Davey Allison.
Earnhardt's back in 10th.
He's a lap down.
That's a tough one for Earnhardt. Again, he got nailed for a 15-second penalty. Here you see Ricky Rudds, number 5, running in 15th position. He too a lap down here this afternoon. Not having any fun out there. That's no fun at all. Just that far back.
This late in the race, when you know you don't have a chance to win, it's big problems. It makes for a long day, and this guys will be glad when it's over.
Here's Kowicki. Now he's up in 3rd spot as we're looking back through the field, giving you an idea where they are around the racetrack with now 15 laps to go. And there you see the Cale Yarborough colors. Derek Cope, a wild ride down at Daytona, looking good and strong here today, but they too have to go back and do a little homework on that car number 98. It looks like some things may begin to happen for them. Running 19th. Behind him is Dale Jarrett's car in 4th spot. So after last year, it was just calamity after calamity at the outset of the season. Things are really turning around. A win for them, a good finish last week. They're up in the points. Came in just, what, 20-25 down from Dale Earnhardt in the battle for the championship this year. Looks good. 4th place for the Joe Gibbs car at the present time. And there you see that Kyle Petty car in 5th, having its problems. Here's Ernie Irvan. And right beside him, the 68 car, Bobby Hamilton out of Tennessee. They're showing him as 5 laps down in the country time car this afternoon. Jarrett finishes 4th. Earnhardt runs 10th. Jarrett gets a 1-point lead in the Winston Cup standings. How about that?
I tell you, a lot of times you see a guy go to Daytona and he'll win, and he'll come out there and not be able to be real consistent. Jarrett's team seems to really be on top of things now. They win Daytona. They go last week. They run good. The 3rd race of the season. Looks like they're going to be a contender for the championship.
Rick Wilson back out again in the Richard Petty car. And there you see Sterling Marlin. Boy, it's tricky to say Sterling Marlin in that Ray Bestis car for the Stavola brothers, isn't it? At number 8.
He's all the way back in 31st place. He's been struggling all day long.
And here's Mark Martin in the number 6. He is 6th. He is your 7th place runner. Thought he might have a little stouter run. I thought he might be the one that would be up there, but no, it's Davey Allison. And there's Schrader, who's set on the pole. That car slapped the wall hard, but he was able to keep going. They're going to get some good finishes out of him this year. That team is coming together. And here's Wally Dallenbach. I really thought he was going to have a better run this afternoon than he's had in the Keystone car.
I'm sure he will have some good runs, Ken. That car really runs fast. Wally's really getting on top of the situation. He's dedicated to run good in Winston Cup. They'll certainly get it sorted out. We're down to 8 laps to go while we're doing this, so this thing is winding down.
But out in front with a 4-second advantage remains Davey Allison. There you see Brett Bodines, number 26. He was up in front. He battled for the lead early in the going. He's now several laps down as we get to the finish of this one this afternoon. But the Bernstein car for leading now finds itself back in 32nd. Here with the leader, Davey Allison, as he runs out his last laps. Working lap 394 and putting a lap on Hut Strickland. Strickland is 18th overall in the field as we get down to the end of this day. And this is one of the biggest advantages anyone has had in this race since they developed this track into a 3/4 miler, Neil. We haven't seen anything like this. We are going to see a record for the distance. The rate he's traveling now, it's up to 108 miles an hour. The old market 105.3 for Earnhardt in 91. Unless something untoward happens right about now, this is a record. And Davey Allison will have it. And we'll have our 3rd different winner of the 92 campaign. 5 to go.
Davey's team certainly need this. Not only does Davey Allison and Robert Yates' team need it, they almost had to have it because they were such a strong team last year. And to get off to the start they had, this right here will put them right back in the picture to be strong all season long.
Only 4 cars out of the race. Mast, Marcus Hensley, and the one you saw being loaded earlier, Bill Elliott, leaving town. Well, not exactly leaving town. Takes a while to get those transporters out of the infield. Packed house, over 70,000 here at Richmond. They're back in September. Hope you'll be here to see it. We had a whale of a race that Rusty Wallace won a year ago. He's in 2nd for this man, Davey Allison, at the present time. Kowicki stays 3rd. You know, the Fords really have had a day. 1st and 3rd out here at the present time, Neil.
Yeah, we've heard that all season long about who's got the strong car, who's got advantage, whatever. But I'm just telling you, it looks like it's pretty level. Here's a Ford winning the, right out front. Here's third place, Alan Kawicki.
He keeps getting those seconds. Now he's had 2 seconds here since they changed the track over. Gets a third today. Got to get a win. He's always in it. So Davey Allison scored those 5 wins a year ago. Picks up his first if he can just keep it flying here through a couple more. This could be his 19th victory if he takes the checkers today. 7th full season on the Winston Cup scene. Robert Yates bought that team from Harry Ranier back in '88. White flag is down, and there's 1 to go. Davey Allison in his 5th year with Robert Yates is on his way in that final lap, looking for win number 19. There's one here, as we mentioned earlier, in the ball race, which is now a Saturday night affair. We're going to be here in September to enjoy it. Allison coming from 18th to 8th in the Winston Cup point standings as he takes the checkers here today. What a jump up for him, and Jarrett leads Earnhardt by 1 point in the Winston Cup standings as we bring this one to conclusion. Davey Allison has done it. He wins by a margin of 5 2/10 seconds. We got a crash on the finish line. 3 cars coming across the line, and it's Wallace, Bobby Hamilton, all snarled up as they were battling right to the checkers. It was over for the leader. He was already in the backstretch, and look what happens in the main straightaway. We'll be back to show you the story of this one as we end this race with an exclamation point after these messages. Stay with us. We're getting the story together of this finish that had 2 cars in the wall down here on the finish line. And the other big story, of course, is right over there in Victory Lane. Let's join Dr. Dick Berggren over in the Bojangles Winner's Circle with Davey Allison.
You did a great job on the racetrack today, Davey, but did you have trouble finding Victory Lane? They moved it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been since 1988, the September race, since we've been here at Richmond. So I didn't know where I was going at first, but they told me on pit road, and I turned around and went back out and came back. Hi, Liz, the kids, Mom, and Grandma. We did it today.
How hard did you have to drive this thing to get here?
We ran it hard all day, but I'll tell you what, I got to say thanks to Robert Yates and Larry McReynolds and all the Texaco Haviland race team, because they just hung in there with me all day. We were patient. We just bided our time. We did the right things on the racetrack. We did great, had great pit stops all day. And here we are, Texaco Haviland Thunderbirds in Victory Lane again.
Where on the racetrack were you better than Kyle and Rusty?
I don't think I was better than them in too many places, maybe just getting off the corners a little bit, but I think we beat them in the pits mostly.
Last year you started out with a win at Daytona. This year you start out with a couple of rough races and then a win here. How big a win is this for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that this is going to be the best momentum builder that Robert Yates Racing could possibly have right now. We had a bad start, but we never gave up. These guys never give up. They're the most enthusiastic bunch of people I've ever worked with, and I'll tell you what, I think they're the best.
You looking down the road toward December?
We're not giving up yet. We may be down, but we're not out.
Davey Allison, thank you. Victory Lane, he's done it today at Richmond.
And, of course, he'll be back here at Richmond on Saturday night, September 11th. That's the second Winston Cup race here on this 3/4-mile track, and it ought to be a dandy. This race today, he dominated that last 80 laps. And take a look at the result of that last-moment effort here on the finish line as they're picking up the Kenny Wallace car. Here's what happened.
We'll see if we can see him. They come in. This is looking down the front straightaway. See him coming off the corner. We see the yellow car is the 68 car, Bobby Hamilton.
Looks like he got tagged.
Looks like he tagged maybe the 44 on the inside. It's hard to tell who it. And then the 40 car of Kenny Wallace got involved. Really tore the cars up.
So, 2-car tangle right on the finish line. What a way to finish it. We'll be back with more here this afternoon. Got a new record, 107 miles an hour. We'll talk a little bit more about that after this. Well, there you see the unofficial results. Davey Allison in first. Rusty Wallace coming home second. Alan Kawicki finds himself third today. Dale Jarrett with an outstanding run to fourth. And Kyle Petty comes in fifth. Let's go back down on pit road and meet another of these champions.
Rusty Wallace, a great run. You come from flipping at Daytona, win a week ago in second place. Good job today.
And the car was real strong today. I just the crew did a wonderful job again, good pit stops and stuff. Davey was good today. Our times on the racetrack in the last 50 laps were exactly the same, but he was way up there. I just couldn't get to him. But like I told all the guys back at the shop and on the radio after the race, it was a job well done. Good pit stops, good day at the office, and the Miller Daniel draft car is hot as ever. I mean, we need things like this to win that championship, and well on our way right now.
Anything you could have done with the race car to make it better?
We worked all day long on air pressures and staggers, and we kept getting it better and better. In the last 50, 60 laps, it was strong. But like I say, David said that big jump on the racetrack on me. It's just with both of us running the same speed, I couldn't get there.
Pit crew was unbelievable once again today.
Yeah, they were sharp. The first pit stop, come in fifth and go out second. Really strong. I mean, I just can't say enough. And Penske made some good calls on the radio again today. Don Miller, Buddy Parrott, all of them. Everything went killer today, and we're looking forward to Atlanta.
Okay, without question, Rusty Wallace going to be a championship contender this season. Dick Berggren?
The work of a car owner who is also a driver is never done. Quick in the inspection area. Alan, you had a good run today, but what else in order to finish higher?
You know, a little more handling, a little more power. I mean, we were really close. Yeah, it's just a good run for us. You can't be the fastest car every day. We just weren't quite good enough to win. Another good run. We're climbing back up there in the point standings, and you know, the team's doing a good job. I think we're going to be a contender here before too long.
Good run this afternoon for Alan Kowicki.
As we look at the racetrack, the afternoon's event concluded here at Richmond International Raceway, and an excellent victory today for Davey Allison. Let's take a look at the True Value Hard Charger standings after this afternoon's third event of the season. Kyle Petty, who led many laps earlier, does win the True Value Hard Charger Award today by 27 points over Davey Allison, who led many of the late laps. Rusty Wallace, who led in the middle of the race. Alan Kowicki, Darrell Waltrip, the top five today in the True Value Hard Charger Award standings. This is, of course, a season-long battle. The top five drivers each lap win points, and at the end of the day, we tote them all up, and again today, Kyle Petty picks up that $1,500 prize. We'll be back with more here from Richmond International Raceway, our special live coverage of the Pontiac Excitement 400 on TBS Sports in a moment.
Only 4 cars retired from the race, but had they had to go another lap, there would have been 2 more you could have added to that list. The biggest incident of the day came when the race was officially over. So watch Davey Allison down here in Victory Lane take a look again at this final moment. This is after the checkers had flown by about 8 or 9 seconds.
We see the yellow car, Bobby Hamilton, who said earlier, he's sideways, comes down across the track, gets into Kenny Wallace, turns Kenny Wallace right on the outside wall. As you said, it was the worst wreck of the day, actually, after they crossed the start-finish line.
So Davey Allison continues to celebrate, and there's a lot to celebrate for the Jarrett family again as well today. Standing by at the STP Pit Center, Rick Benjamin with a very happy Dale Jarrett.
Dale, a great run for you today. You came up to a top 5 again.
Yeah, we've been real consistent so far this year. We got the win at Daytona, 6th last week, and a 4th today. That's what it's going to take to try to stay in this. I told the guys and a lot of people they wanted to know about the championship, and I said the first 5 or 6 races going to tell if we're that caliber of team yet, and they're stepping up to the challenge right now.
We understand you've taken the Winston Cup point lead by 1. It's way too early, I'm sure, to start thinking about a title, but that consistency is really what you're after this year?
It really is, you know. But if you get in that top 5 consistently, you'll hit the combination right one day, and we'll win another race or 2. So that's what we're after, and keep getting as many points as we can. It's great to be in the lead right now, but all that is to see it in the paper and pump the guys up some. But it's a great accomplishment for a second-year team right now.
It's been a wild 3 weeks for you. What did the win at Daytona do for your life?
Changed it around totally. Made it a lot better, certainly. It's been pretty non-stop since then, but I've enjoyed it and will continue to enjoy it. It's something that we can kind of live with all year long, and hopefully get a couple more victories to go with it.
And now you'll have Joe Gibbs hanging around a lot more, evidently.
Yeah, he's nothing. I tell you, football's loss is our gain, certainly. The more we can have him around, the better people and better race team that we're going to be, because he's just such a great person and getting everybody pumped up, keeping everybody on a positive mental attitude, and that's half of this game if you can do that.
Are you surprised how quickly your team's come around? New team last year, here you are barely a year into it.
I would say that I'm a little surprised, but I'm not either, because of the quality people that we have. Jimmy Maycar is the best in the business in my mind. I know that, and as far as chassis-wise and running this team and putting the people together, we have a lot of quality people there. So all they needed was a little bit of time to work on things, not just build cars, but improve on what we had, and hopefully this will continue.
What did you need a little more of today to have given Davey Allison a run for his money?
I would say that we were off just a little bit in the center of the corner. The car was a little bit tight right there, and it was a little loose off, so we couldn't really adjust, take the tightness out of the center without hurting us off. So we decided to kind of live with what we had, and we'll come back here the next time and try a little something different and try to improve on it a little.
All right, great run today for Dale Jarrett. Good luck next week at Atlanta.
Thank you.
Hey, Dale, what about taking that point lead? You're 1 point up on Earnhardt after 3 races.
Yeah, that's a good position to be in. That's what we're after this year. We wanted to see what kind of team we are, and right now things are going well. The cars are driving great. Hendricks are giving us great engine, and we've got a lot of good support behind us. The people at Interstate Batteries, at Chevrolet, Food Line, and Shell. We've got everything that it takes in our camp to do well and to have this. And I told the guys over the winter, I think I learned more last year in that year of racing than I'd learned all the years before, because we ran up front a lot more, and that's making me a lot more comfortable seeing what I have to do. There at the end today, I could have really tried hard to chase Colwicky down, but I saw I wasn't gaining on him. 4th place was good enough for us.
Okay, well, you've certainly learned to get those sponsors in. Thank you for being with us. Nice to have a good finish like that for you today in 4th place. And we'll be back with more from the Richmond International Raceway in a moment. Let's take a look at the complete results on today's program. This is how they came across unofficially. There were a total of 3 caution periods, 19 laps run under yellow, and hence we had a new track record. The old mark was 105 miles an hour for Earnhardt. The new record for Davey Allison is a 107.709, Neil. That's really clipping it off around a 3/4 mile track.
That one caution flag really picked the pace up, and they're going to see some big numbers when they don't have any more cautions than that.
Again, there were leader changes. There were 12 lead changes among 6 drivers in the course of the day. 4 drivers retired. Rick Mast, Dave Marcus, Jimmy Hensley, and Bill Elliott fell out of this event as it went along. Then we had this crash right at the end with young Wallace and Bobby Hamilton getting tangled right at the finish line. Pretty exciting day of racing, nevertheless.
Yeah, and we're answering a lot of questions. We were asking, where's Davey? What's the deal with Jarrett? Has he got that consistency? Seems like that's all coming around now. We're seeing the guys going to be contenders for the championship.
Well, the point standings certainly indicate that. Of course, it's still the early part of the season, just 3 races down as we get ready to go to Atlanta next week. Those are the Winston standings as we have them at the present time, and I think it'll be another battle right down to the end of the year to get it all decided as to who is going to be the Winston Cup champion. It was a great battle last year all the way to Atlanta, and of course Alan Kulwicki leading just what he needed to lead and pull that one out down there.
I think we're realizing now, instead of waiting the last race of the season to try to win the championship, you better start at the first, and these guys are working hard for it.
Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you coming up on May 30th from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. For Dr. Dick Berggren, who is standing by on pit road today, pleasure having you with us, sir.
Thank you. It's been a good time to be here.
And Randy Pemberton, you had yourself a busy day.
Oh, yeah, we got around a little bit, Ken. Thanks a lot. Enjoyed it today.
All right, Rick Benjamin at the STP Pit Center.
Thanks, Ken. Great to be with you as always.
Neil Bonnet, we'll see you in Charlotte. Coca-Cola 600.
Looking forward to it.
Of course, he's going to go sneaking off to Atlanta next week. I'm Ken Squire. Thanks so much for being with us at the Richmond International Raceway. The Pontiac Excitement 400 today, won by Davey Allison. Big time, better than a 4-second advantage over Rusty Wallace at the finish.